going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Nautilus Outdoors. Today's episode, we're diving in the Bahamas. Just got checked in.
Pronounced pajamas.
We got Troy. This is my first time leaving America, so we're gonna see how it goes. I'm not exactly sure where we're going, but we're gonna find out. We're staying here till Wednesday. Right now it is Sunday, the 2nd of April. Just got here about like 3 o'clock, so we're gonna hopefully go find some fish or not. I don't really know what we're doing, but I'll keep you guys updated. Sick.
I'll take my spot.
Alrighty, y'all. We just got the first spot. We dropped off some gear and stuff, but we are in about 65, 68 feet of water. Seems pretty fishy, so we're gonna hop in, hopefully find some nice fish, and see you there. What's going on, y'all? Just hopped in the water, and honestly I wasn't really expecting much. This was literally my first dive of the day. Never done a dive in Bahamian waters, and as soon as I hopped in, did a little warm-up dive down here at about 70 foot, and I spotted a really nice mutton, so I started hunting him, and I pressed record as fast as I could. And as you can tell, I haven't used a pole spear in a while because I thought I'd have a little more range than I did. So it had been about 8 months since I used the pole spear, so it's a little bit rusty there. But as soon as I got to the surface, I started breathing up, and I figured I might see another mutton if I came back down to this same exact area. And also that fish didn't really spook as fast as I thought he would, so I figured I might be able to get another chance on him. But as soon as I get down here, I spot a different mutton. He's a little bit smaller than the last one, but I figured he might give me a shot. And as you can tell, I'm kind of posted up behind this little rock to hide most of my body. But unfortunately, I was making a little bit too much noise with the pole spear, so he wasn't going to come really close, but he comes close enough to where I have a shot, and now he's in range. I miss, as you can tell. So I'm still a little bit rusty, and I start getting better. I end up staying here for about 3 to 4 days, but towards the end, I'm pretty good. But right now, definitely not so hot. So it's probably about 10-20 minutes later on the same spot, and as you can tell, I'm headed down to the bottom. I just got down here and I'm looking around, just trying to get a sense of what's going on, and there's a little bit of jacks and stuff like that swimming around, but I'm swimming over to my flasher hoping to see a bottom fish, and I look over to my right and I spot this really big cubera. He was kind of coming into those grunts, but as soon as he could see what I was and I grunted, it spooked him right off. I was kind of overdoing it on the grunts a little bit, but I didn't know how else I was going to get this fish to come back to me. I tried doing the little look down thing to where he's not so intimidated, but unfortunately he's way too far out there, and I'm not going to get a shot on him, so I knew it was best not to just chase him. So I head up to the surface and try and recoup and get another chance on him. Big cubera. Alright, so I throw my throw flasher and I start heading down, hoping it would bring that big cubera back in. And make sure you watch where that lands. It lands over away from me, too far to where I can go get it. I land here. I was about to start crawling towards it, and I spotted a glimpse of that cubera off my left here. You'll see him in just a second, but it ended up being a little bit too close to where I couldn't go swim over and get that flasher without completely spooking that fish. So I left it there, and I come back another dive to grab it, but you'll see how that kind of plays into the story a little bit later. But as you can see, that cubera is going to come up off the right side of the screen. He's pretty low to the reef. I was kind of hoping he wasn't going to see me, and he was just going to stroll over to the noise, but unfortunately, as you can tell, he doesn't come in range. You see him right there over that coral head moving around, but I'm trying to be as stealthy as I can here, but it's just not working out. This fish is obviously pretty smart, and we are pretty close to the west end, so I'm assuming a lot of people dive it, but oh well, not that big of a deal. Saw a ton more this trip, but didn't get to close the gap on that one there. If I had another like 30 seconds, I could have got him. Yeah, same one. So I took a couple breaths, went down, grabbed my throw flasher, and as soon as I'm starting to head up, I look to my left and spot this nassau grouper. So I pressed record as fast as I could and started slowly dropping towards him. Lets me get really close. As you can see, I hit pretty high on this fish, but it is still a holding shot. But since I have a belt reel, I can give him a little bit of slack and not have to worry about pulling this fish up to the surface and potentially ripping out my shot. So I landed that nassau grouper. I was pretty excited about that. Shot my first one ever. I've seen a couple of them in the Keys, but that was the first one I was legally allowed to take a shot on. So pretty stoked about that. But right after that, we moved in. We are now at about 45, 50 feet of water to the top of this hole, and then it goes way down, super deep. And as you can tell, there's sharks ripping through it. There's all sorts of stuff going on. But the one guy we were with, his name is Nick, and he knew there was black grouper that sat to the right side here. So I threw a throw flasher, hoping it would attract it close enough to where I could maybe get a shot. But unfortunately, as you can tell, that fish would not let me get close at all, just because it's such a easy spot to find that I'm sure a ton of people have dove it, and that fish just got smarter and smarter. So grab my throw flasher and head back up to the surface. So it's getting towards the end of the day, getting pretty dark. We only had like a couple hours in the first place, but Troy said he spotted a really nice cubera that went down this left tunnel here. So I decided I was going to go and check it out. I get down here, I'm holding Troy's light, and I didn't want to turn it on because I figured it'd spook any fish that was actually in this cave. And on my way down, I spot a really nice dog snapper. You'll see him flash here in just a second. He flashes, goes into that little cave, and I spotted another cubera off the right, but he was probably 10, 15 feet farther down, which is what I just looked at. Can't see him on the GoPro, but I decided I was going to go after this dog snapper, go to this little hole he went in, but unfortunately I couldn't see him. It went way too far back, and kind of unfortunate. Couldn't seal the deal on that fish, but looked down here hoping to see that cubera, and unfortunately he went down to the depths. But still pretty cool to see. We dove this a couple more times throughout our trip, but unfortunately, since these fish are so smart, we couldn't get a shot. So still pretty cool to see. Alrighty, y'all. Day 2. Yesterday was pretty successful. Shot one nassau grouper. My first one I've ever shot, so I was pretty happy about that. But we're now at about 50 foot of water. You can see some little structure down there. Or 45, 50. We're gonna hop in and hopefully find some nice fish. So, yeah, see you in the water. So this is my first dive of the day. Doing a little warm-up drop here, and I don't know if you could see it, but a nice mutton was coming in to check out what I was, just off the right side of the screen. So get down here, do a little bit of grunting, do a little bit of smack in the sand, hoping he comes in pretty close, and slowly turning towards him, making sure I'm not moving too fast and not going to spook this fish away. But I see he's about as close as he's going to get, so I extend my pole spear, take the shot, and rookie mistake, shoot right over his forehead. It's like the third fish I've missed this trip, and it was getting pretty aggravating. So the current was pushing us a little bit farther down this reef, and Nick spotted a really nice hogfish. So he goes down, takes the shot, and secures a really good holding shot on this fish. It's not going anywhere, and he pulls it up just to make sure no sharks are going to come by and snatch his fish. But it's pretty cool to see. Got, I don't know exactly how heavy it was, but I think it was about 24 inches to the fork. So definitely a really nice hogfish. Just in the middle of the sand. Fat hogfish. Yeah? Oh, God. Hold that hook on the camera. What the? That's actually crazy.
Psycho hogfish.
So the resort we were staying in, the owner named Barry, he told us there was a spot that was about 20 foot or so right here, which I don't know if you saw it, but there was a really big black grouper that just ducked under that little ledge there. I go down here hoping I could get a shot on him, but unfortunately I look under here and he is just way under there. Barry told us that these fish were pretty smart and they use Hawaiian slings, so they don't want to send a shaft under these rocks because they know they'll just lose their shaft. But told us to check it out. We checked it out, and unfortunately those fish were really smart. So we kept diving this little area, though. It was pretty cool to see. There was a ton of life, probably the most life we had seen the whole trip. But definitely really cool to spot that big of a black in, I don't know, 20 foot of water. So keep diving. I spotted a little school of schoolmasters that went under here, but I saw one that was pretty big, honestly, for a schoolmaster, and he goes under there. So I decided I was going to follow him and hopefully get a shot. He comes out of the corner, take the shot, and completely smoke him right through the cheek plate, so he's not going anywhere. And land my second fish of the trip. So I landed that little schoolmaster, and as I'm swimming back towards the boat, I spot that black again. He's just out in the middle of the open, just sitting there, and since the viz is so good, he can just see you from so far away. You can see I threw that throw flasher hoping he would stay in the area, but there's not even enough structure for me to properly hunt this fish here. Which is why I don't really like diving shallower water, just because these fish are going to be 100% smarter just because they have to be, otherwise they wouldn't stay this shallow. But still, it was pretty cool to see. There was two of them. One that was a little bit smaller. He stayed a little bit longer than the big guy, but still, he would not give us a shot either. So, pretty cool to see. The biggest one was probably about 30 pounds. The other one was probably about, I don't know, 17 pounds or so. But definitely some nice grouper. So we had fun exploring the shallows, but it wasn't really turning into much. So we decided we had to go out a little bit deeper and hopefully bump into some hogfish or some grouper. And as soon as we hopped in the water, I spotted a really nice hogfish just sitting there, swimming around with this little blue runner. And I knew he would give me a pretty easy shot. Typically I like to go down and hunt the fish, but hogfish are definitely not too smart. So went down here, landed a really nice holding shot. I mean, the fish doesn't go anywhere, so stuck him and swam up to the surface. Smart one. Alrighty, boys and girls, I just got back in the boat. Landed a beautiful shot on this hogfish. Get him in the sunlight. Put him on this cooler. Real nice hogfish. This is my best one for a while. I'll add a measurement on my next voiceover, but definitely a pretty nice hogfish, so sick. I'm now the boatie, so I'm gonna sit here for a while until somebody shoots something or we move spots, so might catch you back in the water. Peace. So Troy and I dropped Nick back off to shore. He had to do something for his wedding. I think it was a little bit of cake tasting or something like that. But we head back out, hoping to secure a little bit more food so he can have an awesome time. And as we get back out here, we started drifting along this ledge here, and we spotted this pod of Schoolmaster snapper from the surface, and I figured there had to be some sort of bigger predatory fish in the area, like a grouper, a cubera, mutton, anything like that. But as soon as I get down here, I'm not seeing anything that's really convincing me I need to take the shot on it. So I decided I was going to go look for a little bit more caves, holes, stuff like that that'll actually hold some sort of a bigger fish. And you can see there's a big corrugation of those Schoolmaster's down the reef. So I get to the surface, fight the current for a little bit, and I head right back down. And as I'm getting down here, I can see that there is an overhang off my left there, and I knew I just had to go down there and check it out. So I'm headed towards it, just slowly crawling along the bottom so I'm not spooking anything off, and I spot the silhouette of a really nice nassau grouper. So I start loading up my pole spear, and hopefully I know I'm not going to scare him as I'm crawling over there. And I'm getting within range now. He's still pretty far away, but I can tell he doesn't have enough time to really turn around without me getting a shot. So load up, take that shot, and land it right into his cheek, so I knew he wasn't going to pull off, so I could just tug on him and get him out of that cave. And I ended up landing my second nassau of the trip. Pretty happy with how it turned out. So I got that fish in the boat, put him on some ice, and hopped back in the water. Did a couple more dives, looking around. I shot 2 lionfish in the same dive, and as soon as I get back up to the surface, I spot this really nice hogfish, and I call Troy over, tell him to take a shot, and as you can see, he blasts the fish, but unfortunately his slip tip didn't really activate, and that fish came right off. But since the viz is so good in the Bahamas, you can just tell that fish is gonna lay there. He lost a little bit of blood, and I think he kind of hit a little bit lower than the spine, but it still messed him up pretty good. So Troy's headed back down. You can tell I've got a lionfish on my pole spear, but that fish is kind of just laying there. It's still alive though, so as soon as he gets down there, it moves a little bit, but it wasn't enough to evade him, and his slip tip actually worked this time, so he ended up landing his first hogfish of the trip. But this is going to conclude it for the first 2 days of this trip. There's a couple more, and I've got a little preview right after I land this hogfish for Troy. But I really do appreciate you sticking around this long. Make sure you check out next episode. It is going to be a sick one.
Nice.